And the night that he died, I had called my mom to see what was going on. And she said, he was really having like labored breathing, and a hospice was there. And so it looked like it was getting close. And she asked if I wanted to talk to him on the phone. Of course, he wasn't responsive, but she, just to talk. So I used to sing a lot, and my dad was really supportive of, he was really supportive of me, when I wanted to pursue that. And he would take me around to perform all these different places. And there was this one song that he always would ask me to sing. And I didn't feel like it was a crowd pleaser type song, but it was like one of his favorites. And so when I got on the phone, I thanked him for being so supportive, and really helping pursue the things that I was passionate about.
Yeah.
And I also told him, I wish that I had sung that damn song more often. And so I ended up singing it at the funeral, which obviously was really hard and emotional, but I just wanted to be able to honor the good stuff that he did, because as much shit as we went through with him, that was one area that he really supported me and my brothers. When any of us had an interest in something, he would go all in on it.
You're listening to Unhinged Unicorns, a podcast where hot mess meets healing, with your hosts, Josh.
Sucking does not get enough credit.
And Steph.
Gay.
Welcome to Unhinged Unicorns.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Unhinged Unicorns. My name is Josh. I am here with my co-host, Steph. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. It's been a long time since we've recorded.
I'm pretty sure it's been a year.
I think it's been, close to it.
Almost a year.
Pretty close, yeah.
And in that year, some shit has happened.
A lot has gone down that we have to talk about. All right, so we're going to just dive right in. My dad died. Why are you laughing at that?
Sorry. You did the classic thing that every single person who's a part of the Dead Dads Club loves to do this. And I only say this because in my experience, every other person who's a part of the Dead Dads Club has the same kind of humor that I do around my dead father.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually to use that against people who still have fathers and say, well, my dad died, so.
At least you still have a dad.
At least you still have a well, my dad was kind of a deadbeat when he was alive. So.
And now he's just dead.
Now he's just dead. I did find out through my stepmom did a psychic reading, and it was over the telephone. This person has never met her before, and she said that she could feel my dad's energy or his soul around near my aunt. So my dad was, I guess his energy or his body was around my his sister, and I'm like, oh great, so he's also ghosting me in the afterlife. He still doesn't care about me.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah, so tell us about your dad.
Well, so in one of our prior episodes, we talked about how he attempted to kill himself.
Yes.
And he was unsuccessful at that. And I didn't really go into a tremendous amount of detail, but I'm going to share a little bit more information about that.
Yeah.
So he, I still want to censor so that we don't get, flagged or anything, but he used a pew-pew, and he pew-pewed himself in his head.
Right.
And somehow he survived it. I truly don't know how he survived it, because without getting too graphic, it went in through his neck and out through the back of his head, and he survived that, which
that's crazy.
Is insane. But of course, I deal with things with dark humor, and so I was making jokes that he's never been more open-minded.
Yeah, and that he's a failure.
Yeah, he failed because, wasn't successful.
He was not successful, and you get it from your dad.
Right. Yeah. I too am a failure. But at least I'm alive. Anyway.
Yep.
Anyway, and then like for months after that, every time I would like go to the movies or whatever, and I'd see a character get pew-pewed, I'd be like, Dad?
That's right. I forgot you used to like make so many jokes whenever there were like gunshots or like an action movie.
Yep.
You'd be like, Dad, what are you doing here? Why aren't you on the farm?
Yeah. So anyway, fast forward, I guess it was a little bit over a year after that happened, which we went into detail about how that like devastated my family, and it was really traumatic. And I know I'm joking about it now, but going through it was not fun.
No.
And so fast forward like a year, and he made a lot of changes in that last year of his life. Like him and my mom left the cult that we were raised in, and they found a new church, and they got rebaptized in this new church. And my mom said it was like the best year of their marriage.
Now, just to clarify, they didn't leave a cult in this last year. That was in the past. Right?
Yes, but they like made it official in that last year.
Oh, okay. So it was very recent that they made it official. They left that church and went to this new church that really welcomed them in.
Yeah. And I want to be clear, like they were raised in this cult. My grandparents were in this cult. Like this has been multi-generational that we've been in this cult. And I never imagined the day that my mom would even refer to it as a cult, let alone leave it. But there's been some SA stuff that's come up, and there's a big FBI investigation. If you want to learn more about it, there's actually a documentary episode on Hulu about it, and it's a Impact and Nightline episode, and it's called The Secrets of the 2x2 Church. And it doesn't, I mean, it goes into a little bit of detail about the church, but that's like part of what's going on right now. And so that was kind of like the final nail in the coffin, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dad.
Of course.
But they decided to leave because of what was going on with that. And so they found this new church. And actually, it's crazy. It's so crazy how this all happened, because the paramedic, or one of the paramedics that was there to help my dad when that all happened, gave my mom a business card for a crisis counselor in their area. And he happened to be the pastor at this church.
Oh, I didn't know that actually.
Yeah. And so my mom was seeing him for like counseling and didn't even realize it, but was meeting she knew that they were meeting at the church because his office was part of the church. And so she knew that they were going there to meet, but she didn't realize until a little bit into it that he was actually the pastor at the church. He's also the chaplain for the fire department there. And so anyway, that's kind of how that all came to be. Well, then after my dad got out of the hospital, which, he was there for a few months, and then he actually went into a group home for a little bit of time. And then when he finally did come back home, my mom had already started going to this church. And so my dad started going, and he really liked it. And that church family, I've never seen a church respond the way that they did. Like, they were there for my mom.
Yeah.
And so what happened is my dad fell, and he's on blood thinners. Well, not anymore, but he was. And
right.
And he fell and he hit his head, and it was just a fluke thing. Like they had gone to church. It was a Sunday morning, and they were leaving afterward. They went to a restaurant. They were leaving the restaurant, and there's like a little ramp that goes down like where the handicap parking was at. And I guess he just lost his footing and somehow fell and hit his head.
That's crazy. And I remember you telling me that like you really were not worried because this was such a normal incident. Plus, your dad had faced much worse than a little fall in the parking lot.
I mean, he'd fallen multiple times. In fact, he had been hospitalized before.
Yeah.
For falling. So like, I'm like, okay, well, here we go again,
Yeah.
And my mom is notorious for, she will send photos of whatever damage has been happening for whatever. Like, she sent me photos of him. Well, Dad fell again. And he's got like black eyes.
Oh my God.
So I didn't really think anything of it when she first told me that he had fallen. But she did say that they had care flighted him because he was on blood thinners and it had knocked him out, like when he fell.
Yeah.
Because I guess he like hit his head directly on the pavement. And so, yeah, we knew it was bad, but I didn't realize that it was that bad until like Tuesday.
Yeah.
So 2 days later. And they had been like doing brain scans on him to see if the bleeding had spread. And, you know, he was confused, but he was still talking. He was just confused. And so I was thinking that it was going to be fine. But by Tuesday, he had become unresponsive. And I guess the last thing that he said to my mom, now he was really garbled.
Yeah.
But he was talking still. And so my mom and dad, they live on a farm. And one of the things that they would say to each other is, I love you to the barn and back.
Oh.
And so the last thing that he said is he was really trying to say something to my mom, but it was like coming out like, blah, 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 like kind of hard to understand him. And so she asked him, like, are you saying I love you to the barn and back? And he like nodded his head.
Oh.
And then he went to sleep and then he never woke up again. I mean, it was several days before he passed.
That is so good. Like, not good. I don't mean that. I meant like, that's so crazy because I think I've told you this before, but when my dad was about to die, like the night before he went into his own kind of coma, my stepmom they were in Tennessee and I'm in Florida, so I wasn't there, but my stepmom was with him. And for the first time in a very long time, he was acting very lucid, and him and my stepmom, they were like on the verge of separating before the incident that landed him in the hospital had landed him there. So things have not been good with them, but for the first time, like he was holding her hand. They were like being really like close and like lovey-dovey, and he really didn't want her to leave. And it got to the time where she had to leave the hospital, and he was like really holding on to her and like pretty much begging her not to go. And he said that he loved her. And he was doing this handshake, like these hand movements with her. And she didn't know what it meant until I got there. I arrived in the plane like a day later when he was already in this coma. And she started she said, I don't know what this means. I'm gonna cry. I don't know what this means, but he did this hand movements with me, and I think it was for you. And it was mine and my dad's secret handshake that we've had since I was a kid, and we would always do it. So he's a bastard. And I've always, I had so much, there was so much shit between us, but like the fact that he sent like that last message was just really, really special.
Yeah, for sure. I feel a similar situation happened like with my dad, because my dad was not like the emotional type or like,
yeah.
And he on New Year's, I think it was New Year's Day, he had texted me, and it was like a conversation like I've never had with him before. And he was basically just like, I hope you have an amazing year. And he just kept saying that over and over, like a happy new year. And I just want the best for you this year. And I was like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Why are you being all sentimental? It's weird.
Yeah.
And then he like opened up and he was talking about how he was afraid that he was going to go to hell for what he had done. Mm-hmm. And then he was talking about how he would go out, because they live on a farm, you know, and he would go out and talk to the goats. And that was like, he said, they don't judge. He said, they don't judge me. Oh. And he said, if I don't say it right, then I just go and tell a different goat. Oh. And it made me feel so sad.
That is like, every time you've told me that, I just feel so devastated and sad for him. And it's also a little cute, but
I mean, it is cute, but also like, I feel bad that he
felt so alone.
But at the same time though, like I really think that he finally understood the gravity of what he had done, and he apologized for it, and in his own way, I think he made peace with it. I hope he did. I know he was scared that, he was going to go to hell for it, but then he was also saying, if all sin is created equal, like, will I go to hell for speeding or like, and I was like, well, I think, and this is just my own personal belief, but like, I don't think God's going to hold that against him, and I think that out of that darkness came such beautiful things, like even at the funeral. And we didn't hide away from talking about this stuff, by the way. Like, I got up and I gave a eulogy and I talked about all the good things. My dad, he was a complicated person. He was really a complicated person. There's a lot of trauma that was caused by him.
Yeah.
And a lot of emotional abuse that was caused by him.
Same.
But he was the type of person that would like give you the shirt off of his back. Anytime people would come over to our house, he had a shopping addiction, but I'm not even talking like shopping at stores. I mean, yes, that was part of it, but I'm talking garage sales, auctions. He would just collect random shit, like, and he would always give. In later years, my mom and him would make like homemade soap, like goat's milk soap.
I remember that.
And they would make sugar scrub. And then at one point he was making these corn bags that you put like either in the freezer or the microwave, and they can be like hot or cold packs. And he must have sewed like hundreds of these things. We went on a cruise and he insisted on bringing 2 suitcases full of these freaking corn bags. They were heavy as fuck. And we're hauling them around. And he was just giving them out to passengers or to the staff. I mean, he was.
I'm surprised the carnival let him bring on 2 extra like heavy ass bags.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah.
Did I say the carnival?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The Carnival cruise. Sorry.
I understood I picked up what you were throwing down.
What cruise did you guys go to? Do you remember?
Oh man, I've been on so many. I think that one was Jamaica, Grand Cayman, and Cozumel.
That sounds lovely.
Oh, it was great.
We should do that.
We should. Girl, we will tear up that buffet. They have 24-hour free ice cream.
Girl, I did that. Not this year. Okay. But I did that on the first cruise I went on. First and only cruise I've been on with my parents when I was like maybe 10 or 11. And I knew all about that ice cream buffet. Oh, yeah. I took advantage of it.
And the 24-hour pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I knew about her. I knew about the ice cream.
Yeah. I want to go on a cruise again.
Yeah.
My goodness. But I had so much fun. That particular cruise, my aunt and her wife came, and they were celebrating their 50th birthday.
Wow.
Because they're both like a few months apart. Or not even. They're pretty close. Yeah.
Wait, are they sisters or lovers?
They're lovers. Yes, they're lovers. And so the funny thing is that my now ex and I were on that cruise together. And in Cozumel, we found this place that has like all these marble statues of like all different sizes and all different shapes. And they had a whole section of penises. Big marble cocks. So naturally.
You love that. Is that where you got that marble cock?
That's the one.
I didn't know that was from the cruise.
Yeah, I got that for
amazing.
them. For their 50th birthday, which they were celebrating on the formal night at dinner. And I gave that gift to them. And they opened it up. They're like, thanks.
Like, we actually have a silicone version of this that works for
My
us.
aunt was like, I don't really want this. do you want it? And I was like, yeah.
Wait, you totally did that on purpose so that you could just take.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. So you didn't get them a gift.
No. I said, happy birthday, Aunt Kim. And anyway, now I have an emotional support penis on my desk.
Yeah. Oh my God. You talk about this emotional support penis all the time. And
I do.
You'll
When
give
I
it
get
a little
stressed,
stroke.
I hold it and I just I rub the under part of the head.
When you do that, can I ask you a personal question?
Of course.
When you do that to the marble cockhead, do you feel tingles on your own body?
No, but I do feel better. I feel like I'm in my happy place.
You know what? If I had like a vagina version of that and I could just like stroke the clit a little bit and play with the
flick the bean.
Yeah. Flick the bean and play with the labia. I feel like maybe like insert some fingers.
Yeah.
I think that I could basically be mentally stable.
That's great. Would it be like sort of like a stress ball, but like a stress?
Fuck.
Okay. A stress taco.
Yes.
That's great. We should do that. Anyway, my dad died, and may he rest in peace.
Yes. Rest in peace to, what was his name again?
Rex.
Rex. I knew it was something totally
Unique. Yeah.
Unique.
Not
like
a common
that.
name. Like Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Rex.
Yeah.
Yes. Rest in power, Rex.
That's right.
Rest in power.
That's right. I've been thinking about him a lot lately too. I don't know. It's just grief is like a weird thing.
Girl, it is boots nasty.
Like it comes and goes. Like some days I'm fine. I don't even think about it. And then like I'll see, I don't know, there was a celebrity death recently and they died at 67, which is how old my dad was when he died.
Yeah.
And it just made me think of my dad.
The strangest things will make you think about like grief and the parent that you lost, because like for me, I sometimes would attribute love songs, not love songs, but like breakup songs that were not overly romantic, about my dad like always kind of abandoning me when he was alive. So there's like this Demi Lovato song. Well, she does make music that is directly about her father, and I relate to her so much because I feel like she has had similar things happen in her life that reflect some of the things that I've gone through. And there's this song that I think it's called Really Shouldn't Come Back, or Shouldn't Come Back. And it's obviously about like a past lover, but she doesn't say a whole bunch of like lyrics that are about like loving and kissing or like wanting a man. It's more like setting this boundary that like maybe you should really just not come back and be near me anymore. And that's the kind of, it always reminded me of my dad though. It always reminded me of him. And especially before I went to treatment, like in December of 2019, the November before I went to treatment, I had gone to the worst Thanksgiving of my life at my dad's house in Thanksgiving. And that was basically the last time I saw him really alive and lucid and like walking around. But he was hospitalized during that time and I think this was like the start of like what truly happened to him in 2020 when he passed away. But he was just so awful, and I was always going back to him. It was kind of like a relationship where you have a toxic ex and you keep going.
Yeah.
So it's like when you keep going back to someone that you know is not right for you, but you but they just promise you that things will be different. And that's exactly what my dad did with me as a kid and growing up. And even when I was a young adult, 'cause I was like maybe 21 around the time that, maybe 21 or 22 around the time that he died. So I was still pretty young, but he would still, every time he would catch me in his web and be like, this time it's going to be different. It's going to be great. There's not going to be any yelling. We're not going to, do any of the things that you don't like to, that the reason you tell your mom why you want to like leave early every time. None of that's going to happen. I've changed. I've been taking my medicine. I'm a different person, but every time I go there, it's always the same. But this time was just the worst it had ever been. And I honestly had gathered some courage to put it bluntly to him, like, this is not okay. The way you're acting, not only to me, but to my grandparents and to my stepmom, this is not okay. And I'm not going to be complicit in this anymore just because I'm your child. And I basically had cut him off. And then I went to treatment. And then when I got out of treatment, he was not okay. So
did you, because one thing that I felt, especially when I was younger and I was going through a lot of crap with my parents, and I was really trying to like break it on my own and get my own independence at that point. And I went through a 2-year period where I didn't talk to my parents. And I was very, very angry.
Yeah.
And I remember at that point feeling like, if my dad were to, because my dad had a lot of health issues. I think he had like 4 major strokes.
Wow.
And a bunch of other like little strokes. And like, I mean, he'd been through a lot. So part of me was like, this guy is never going to fucking die. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And there was a time when I was really upset with him where I felt like very, like it wouldn't matter to me if he died.
Yes.
But then when he did, like it really affected me a lot more than I thought it would. But also too, the dynamic of the relationship had changed at that point.
Yeah.
And like everything that we'd gone through, I'd gotten some closure with that.
Yeah.
So I wasn't in the same headspace.
Exactly. And I think that's the difference, is because the you that you were when you felt that way about him and dying was not the same version of you, and not the same version of him when he eventually did pass away. Because like you said, you guys had just started building like this great like father and son relationship that you never had. And you guys could talk on the phone. And
well, it was interesting because like I feel like I would connect with my dad through my mom. Like I would call my mom and he would always be there. Like he'd be in the background. And so it would be a conversation with both of them.
Yeah.
And he would tell me what's going on. They would both update me with all the happenings of the farm.
Yeah.
Farm life. But the day before he fell, I had traveled to Orlando, to see a boy.
Yeah.
And I was in the car for like 2 hours and we talked. I talked to my mom and dad for like an hour and a half. Yeah. And typically when I would call them, we'd talk for like 15 minutes and I'd get off the phone. But like that particular day, we talked. And I remember him asking like, when are you going to come visit? He was really adamant. Like, when are you going to come visit? And I was like, well, probably for the holidays. This was back in March. And he was like, well, are you going to come for Easter? And I was like, no, probably like Christmas, Thanksgiving, maybe, like the holidays. And he was like, I think you should come for Easter. Well, ultimately, he ended up dying and his funeral was the week before Easter.
Wow.
So
you really did.
In a way, I went home for Easter.
You kept the promise that he wanted you to.
Yeah. It was just unfortunate, of course, that it was under those circumstances. But,
yeah,
I feel like I got some closure with it. And, before he died, like he was in the hospital and he was in a coma. And the night that he died, I had called my mom to see what was going on. And she said, he was really having like labored breathing and a hospice was there. And so it looked like it was getting close. And she asked if I wanted to talk to him on the phone. Of course, he wasn't responsive, but she, just to talk. And so I was driving back from Orlando, and so I used to sing a lot, and my dad was really supportive of, he was really supportive of me, when I wanted to pursue that. And, he helped buy my first sound system so that I could host karaoke at like 16. And he would take me around to perform all these different places. And there was this one song that he always would ask me to sing. And I didn't feel like it was a crowd pleaser type song, but it was like one of his favorites. And so when I got on the phone, I thanked him for being so supportive, and really helping pursue the things that I was passionate about.
Yeah.
And I also told him, like, I wish that I had sung that damn song more often. And so I ended up singing it at the funeral, which obviously was really hard and emotional, but like, I just wanted to be able to honor the good stuff that he did, because as much shit as we went through with him, he was really, that was one area that he really supported me and my brothers. When any of us had an interest in something, he would go all in on it. Like, he bought a freaking, pottery wheel for my brother, and a whole bunch of like ceramic molds, and he got a sewing machine for the other brother. And, he was always just really supportive of that kind of stuff. And so I don't think if he had passed, when I was at that angry phase with him, I don't think I would have appreciated him for the good stuff that he did.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to think how situations, when you're in it, you don't always see what the purpose is or what the outcome will be.
Yeah.
But looking at the last year of his life and seeing how he was able to like take ownership and accountability for it and heal those relationships, I think there was a greater purpose. For some reason he survived that.
Yeah.
So
maybe his greater purpose was to survive that, and because his life wasn't ready to end at that point, and he needed to make it up to you and the people around him.
And I'm glad that opportunity happened, because I feel like I can share his story now and honor him and accept that he was not a perfect person. He had a lot of flaws, but I can appreciate him for the whole person that he is.
Yeah. And
appreciate the good and forgive the bad. I still hold him accountable for those things, and I acknowledge that there was still hurt caused by his actions, but I'm really working to let that go and to appreciate the good in him.
Yeah. That's a really good outlook, because I think that's something that I still struggle with. I go through a lot of phases with my dad where there are times where I feel a lot more empathetic and even sympathetic to him, and other times where I just can't stop thinking about all of the bad times, all of like the bad memories, and other times where I grieve for a father that I wish I had, and for the person that I wish he could have been. Grieving for that most of the time, because I know without a shadow of a doubt that if he somehow had lived and was still alive and he was still acting the way he did when he was alive, that I would have to like love him from a distance. I would have to like not have him in my life, just like how I did right before he died. Like, that was crucial for me in my life because it was not something that I could withstand unless something seriously changed. So a lot of times when I feel like I miss him, I think I miss the better parts, but I think I also
miss the
idea of him, the idea I had of him
in your head
as a kid.
Right.
The kid, like putting him on that pedestal, having him be Superman, the best dad in the world. And then the blinders came off. And I think I realized that he is human, yes, but he was also at the end of the day just a very sick man who never got help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both physically and like psychologically.
Right.
He was a very sick person who just never got helped. And one of my therapists I've had one of
your collection of therapists.
my collection. I had at the time that I was going through this stuff with my dad when he died. My therapist at the time said something that really, it changed my perception and my entire like loathing I had, because I had such a loathing for him and how he made people around him suffer, because he was in so much physical pain and emotional pain, but mostly it was the physical pain that made him such an asshole. And I was always so angry at him. And looking back, I was angry at him because he was making everyone around him suffer because he was too afraid to go and get looked at. He was too afraid to get his body checked, and his circumstances, like with his physical health, with his hearing, because he was also going half deaf.
What? Sorry.
With his hearing. Josh likes to say a lot that I'm deaf as well, because I'm always like, huh? What? And I'll, maybe I picked it up from my dad. So my dad was going half deaf, and he also had like this rare spine disease. I mean, it's not so rare, I guess, anymore, but he had this spine disease. And my mom would always tell me, and I don't know if it's true or not, but even my stepmom had confirmed it, so I think it is. They had told me that his condition and his quality of life would not have been this bad, would not have been like this severe if he had just gone to like physical therapy and done things like that way from the beginning. But he had debilitating anxiety, crazy paranoia. He was so paranoid all the time. And it was to his own like detriment, because a lot of times he could qualify for medical marijuana for just the amount of pain he was in, but he was so paranoid and anxious that he just would not allow my stepmom to get that for him and not be put on any sort of medication.
See, I can relate because I am terrified to go to the hospital.
I am too.
I've put off getting treatment for things out of fear of being judged or, dealing with the bias.
I think my dad's always just been afraid of like the pain of potentially being in pain or making his condition worse.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's even to the point where like when I was getting a procedure done at 12 years old, he promised me that he would be there for me because I was so scared. I was so goddamn scared. But it was just a basic, like getting my tonsils removed.
Right.
It was so like, what do they call it? Not sketchbook, but really textbook, not textbook. It was a textbook procedure. And
it was a sketchbook procedure.
It was a sketchbook little drawing.
Yes.
And anyway, like it was, my aunt was going to drive him to the appointment or to my like surgery place. Because at first he didn't have a ride, and she was going to do that just so that I could have my dad there. And like on the night before, I was like thanking her, me, 12 years old, thanking my aunt for letting my dad come and see me. But I was saying, thank you again so much for like helping out. And she was like, he didn't tell you? I'm like, what do you mean, Melissa? What are you talking about? And she said that my dad, that he told her not to worry about it, that he's not going to be able to go. And it was because he was too anxious to be there. Too much anxiety to be there. And so that's what I mean though, like by how he just had so many things that were undiagnosed and untreated. And anyway, going back to like the story about like my therapist, she got me to completely switch it around and be like, it's almost like you could feel really bad for him and feel really sad that he never got the kind of care and like treatment that I was able and willing to get. And not only like, she wasn't even like mentioning my ability to go like as far as financial status or insurance or able to take off from school or work to be able to go and get the help I needed at the time. She was meaning more like that I was open to it, that I was allowing myself to get help and forcing myself to get help so that I don't have to live this way anymore, which takes a lot of courage and bravery.
Yeah.
And to feel sad that my dad just didn't have that in his reserves while he was still alive.
I think that I really try to have more empathy and compassion for my dad in knowing that he was not a healed person, you know, and a lot of what he inflicted on us as a family, I think he went through as a kid. I don't know that. Like, he never opened up about that, but I suspect that a lot of what he did was just, you know, him being a hurt person, hurting other people. And I try to have compassion now for that instead of just hating him like I did for so long. And that's not to say that, you know, it excuses the things that he did, but I have more of an understanding about it now.
And I think that's the thing. It's understanding
and like
is helpful.
The hurt people, that can end with me. I don't have to carry that on.
Exactly.
And so part of this whole process of, you know, trying to heal myself and learn about things and be open to changing.
Yeah.
That has been part of that journey for me.
Yeah.
So
completely.
With that, I think we will wrap up this episode. But thank you so much for listening. I hope that you have enjoyed this, and I'm sure that there's people out there who can relate to the loss process and grieving process.
Definitely.
It's
and honestly, just I feel like it's pretty universal that a lot of people struggle with relationships, but especially with their dad.
Oh, for sure.
No matter what gender or genders.
And a lot of times that carries on into our romantic relationships. We end up going after people who replicate a lot of the same behaviors.
Yeah.
So until next time, wherever you're at listening to this episode, thank you so much for your support. And if you do listen to our podcast and want to help support us, we have an Amazon wish list. We're trying to build out a little bit of a set. And we've got some things that we would like to incorporate into that on our Amazon wish list. And if you would like to support us in that, we would greatly appreciate it. In the meantime, if you can like and subscribe, we would appreciate it. And if you know anyone who would benefit from listening to this episode, please feel free to share our episodes as well. And we will see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Unhinged Unicorns. Head over to unhingedunicorns.com to sign up for our mailing list so you never miss new episodes, special content, or a little chaos from your favorite hosts. If you enjoyed the show, like, share, and spread the sparkle. And remember, until next time, try to behave, but if you don't, keep it fabulously unhinged.